All right, everybody, here's the final step of your pinched bowl, the sgraffito technique on the surface after doing all your carving. I'm just cleaning up a little bit of the edges that I've carved away. Normally I would have the whole bowl finished carving wise before I put the black slip on, but for this purpose, I'm just trying to get you guys the information a little bit more ahead of time so that you guys have some good understanding of what to do next. Okay, taking out that black slip or black underglaze, and we're going to take a very soft small brush and just kind of border the edge and then fill in the space in between. We're doing this at that leather hard stage so that the clay has a time to kind of shrink together with the black underglaze, and then it allows you to kind of figure out a good strong connection between the two layers. I've done about 2 to 3 layers of black on the surface and making sure that it's spread out nice and evenly. I don't want to be able to see any kind of brush marks or any kind of clay coming through the black. It needs to be a solid black layer, and I want to brush it in a couple different directions to make sure that I have a nice even coat. This is my 3rd layer, and you can kind of see the clay. It's kind of building up a surface, and then I'm going to wash out my brushes very carefully, make sure there's nothing left in the brush, and then let that part dry. I'm not going to work on that part. I'm going to work on the other one that was already painted before we started this video, because that one's had some time to stiffen up and dry out. Before I do anything with the actual bowl, I'm going to test some design ideas out on this scratch board. It's got black covering, and then you're going to scratch through it to kind of get the same technique or the same look as what you might get on your bowl. So this is just a stencil in the sense of stenciling out some design work, and then going to scratch away the lines that I've created with something nice and sharp, like a needle tool that you have. It takes a little bit of pressure, and you're going to kind of peel back a little bit of that black layer, and it's going to create a little bit of a white design on the surface of the black. So it starts to show up a little bit more as you scrape away that black layer off the top surface. This is a test run, so it's just a way to get some ideas down before you actually start doing it on the clay. Another way to do it is use a sheet of paper and a transfer stencil technique, where you just draw on the surface of the paper, and then you use the paper as a stencil and draw again right on top of the clay, instead of freehanding it like I'm doing with this design. I'm taking a very careful, light touch, sometimes even a pencil touch of pressure can even remove a little bit of the black slip. So you got to be careful when you're doing this. You don't want to accidentally carve away too much if you don't like the lines. Then I'm taking a couple of different tools that have options for carving away, and I'm sticking with basically just that little arrow blade and carving away with the tip of it, kind of at an angle, and creating those grooves. And I'm being very careful not to touch the black slip at all. I don't want to leave any finger marks or anything like that. If you have clay areas that were covered by the black that you don't like, you can scrape them away just like that without using a wet sponge and smearing the clay and getting that black embedded into the clay surface. We do not want to we don't ever want to use a damp sponge and try to wipe away the black slip or the black underglaze. So scrape it away carefully with the blade, and then continue to work on some of the carved areas that you might still need to do a little bit of cleaning up on over the black. Remember not to touch the black surface at all with your fingers. You might leave residue or some other marks on there, and then just kind of blow it off, or use a very dry brush that can basically flake off the stuff that you don't need. And that's the sgraffito technique. All right, good luck. Thanks.